Okay, so we're in a little bit of a time crunch as the exams are coming up in May for my AP classes. So I thought I should start a series where I go over my notes. It's going to be great. So today we're starting with AP US Gov. And we're going to go over units 4 and 5, since those are the ones we started off with in class, because of trying to think, just because it flows easier the way my teacher describes it. So yeah. Alright, starting off with Unit 4, Political Ideology. Consistent set of values and beliefs about the purpose and scope of the government. And doesn't expect a candidate to 100% align with their beliefs, but it's... yeah. Conservative. Favors traditional American values, respect for authority, law and order, and national defense. So these are the more Republican-leaning people. Then there are liberals who favor an active government role in regulating the economy and promoting equality. These are your more Democratic-leaning people. Libertarians favor a very limited government, promote individual freedom that should only be limited when it impedes on another person's rights. These are... I associate them with hippies, not because of drugs, but just because they're kind of free-spirited and, want to do their own thing as long as they're not hurting others. As Americans, we have core values. Individualism, which is personal responsibility. Equality of opportunity, where we all have the opportunity to achieve our individual goals. Free enterprise. Market-based economy where one can choose what to buy, sell, or produce, with some regulation. Rule of law, all subject to the law. Limited government, where governmental power is restricted by the Constitution. Now we're moving on to topic 4.2. Political socialization. The process by which people acquire their political beliefs and ideology. Family, peers, social environments, social media, things like that. Globalization has spread American culture and values, increased immigration and diversity in the U.S. Life cycle effects. The variety of physical, social, and psychological changes people go through as they age. So, let's say when you're younger, statistically, you're more likely to be liberal or Democratic. You can become more conservative or libertarian or, we'll even throw this out there, anarchist as you get older due to changes in your life from events and changes in groups you're around, etc. Generational effects. Different voting patterns and political beliefs for people in different generations. Millennials are much more liberal than previous generations, for example. Major political events can influence political attitudes. Impressionable age hypothesis suggests that most people forge their political attitude between the ages 14 to 24. Topic 4.5. I think that was more than topic 4.2 that I went over. I'm really bad at taking notes sometimes. I'm so sorry. Surveys are used to estimate beliefs and feelings of entire populations. So, the things that affect results, I'm so sorry. My gums are really inflamed right now because I think I have a wisdom tooth coming in. So, yeah, that's a problem. So I'm sorry if I sound odd right now. Anyways, factors affecting results of surveys: knowledge of the topic, wording of the question, questions that focus only on benefits, and opinions aren't stable, they change. Strategic questioning. Polls can be designed to obtain a specific result. So they can, say, do you think President Obama apologizes too much to the rest of the world for past U.S. policies? That would be not neutral, to say the least. That would be anti-Obama. Types of polls: entrance and exit, conducted as voters arrive or leave polling places. Opinion, survey of public opinion using a sample of the population. Benchmark, generally the first poll taken by a campaign, often taken before the candidate announces candidacy. So it's to find out, do we like this? Do y'all like this person? Do you want to see them as president or no? Tracking, continuous polls used to chart a candidate's daily rise or drop in support. And focus groups, small groups of citizens, 10 to 40 people, gathered to discuss issues or candidates. There was I forget who it was about, but our teacher, she was there was this one guy. They were it doesn't look like I can have a beer with him, so he should wear button-ups and jeans. So he started wearing button-ups and jeans from this focus group. It's crazy. Population is the full group of people from which a sample is pulled. I think y'all know that. Sample size for the US, about 1,000 is sufficient. Don't know the math behind that. Random sample, any person or group has the same chance of being selected. Stratified sample, population is divided into subgroups and weighted based on population demographics. Sampling error, a polling error from using a sample. Margin error, percent of results that could be the result of chance variation. 4.6. Okay. So, politicians use polling to determine level of support, identify which issues are most important, tweak positions on issues, and help with campaign strategy. So politicians will often change their views or the way they say things in order to be more appealing to other people, to get more votes. The way you see the world affects sorry, I forgot to mention this is 4.7 now. The way you see the world affects your ideologies. Conservatives see things as a battle between civilization and barbarism. Liberals view things as a struggle between oppressor and the oppressed. Libertarians think of things on a scale of liberty to coercion. That is just going more in a depth of the way people lean ideologically. Democratic Party oh my god. I am so sorry. Correlation? I don't know what that says. My handwriting was just shit this day. I'm sorry. Democratic Party correlation: younger voters, more racially diverse, women, LGBTQ plus community, secular. Don't remember what that means. Used to be Jewish, but with Israel and Palestine right now, it's not really Jewish based now because of them supporting Palestine. Most other non-Christian religions are as well. I think Catholics are more Republican. Don't quote me. I don't know I really don't know. Post-grad education, live in urban or city areas. Their platform is closer to liberal ideologies, like I said before. Decrease defense spending, increase spending on public education, increase social welfare programs, target tax cuts, support gun control measures, pro-choice, support environmental regulations. Oh, it wasn't correlation. Republican Party coalition. There we go. We finally got the word. So what the first thing I said about Democrats was coalition. Sorry. Republican Party coalition, middle-aged and older votes, mostly white, mostly men, evangelical and Christian conservative, southern Midwestern, which is surprising because I am from the Midwest and most of the people I know are independent, so live in more rural live in more rural areas, white collar, kind of, that's iffy now. Veterans, their platform, increase defense spending, decrease money spent on social welfare, decrease money spent on public education, cut taxes, oppose gun regulation, pro-life, oppose environmental regulations. 4.9. I don't know how we got to 4. I really sucked at writing topics at first, so give it some time. The U.S. has a mixed market economy. So some are free, some are controlled. Liberal economic ideologies. Increased government, regulation of marketplace, higher taxes for the wealthy, favor social programs, like Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, etc. Conservative economic ideologies. I am stumbling over my words. I deeply apologize. Less government regulation of marketplace, lower taxes for middle class and higher income, don't favor social government programs, I spelled that wrong. Lukewarm support for old age. Cause like, they don't want to spend it on old age programs because they're like, we don't want Medicare because we don't want Social Security and Medicaid. But also, most of our voters are old as hell. So, it's probably good that we support them. Keynesian economics. Government should stimulate the economy during recessions. Deficient spending is okay, typically favored by Democrats. Supply side economics. Government should stimulate the economy by cutting taxes to encourage businesses to grow and taxpayers to spend more. Okay with deficits caused by tax cuts, typically more favored by the Republicans. A Federal Reserve is an independent regulatory agency in charge of monetary policy for the U.S. I don't know what the other word to this is, but fiscal is how to influence the economy using the tools of taxes and government spending. Monetary is to influence the economy by changing the money supply. That is all of chapter 4. Now we're moving on, or not chapter 4, sorry, unit 4. We're moving on to unit 5, topic 5.1. The 15th Amendment says that the government cannot deny the people the right to vote based on race, color, or previous condition of servitude. So it gives former slaves and African Americans the right to vote. Not women yet, only men. The 17th Amendment has direct election of U.S. senators because people used to bribe state legislator to appoint a specific senator. The 19th Amendment says cannot deny people the right to vote based on sex, so women get the right to vote. 24th Amendment says cannot deny people the right to vote by reason of failure to pay any toll, tax, or other tax. So you don't have to pay a fee or tax to vote. This was mostly to prevent African Americans to vote, which is very sad. The 26th Amendment says that you cannot deny the right to vote if they are 18 years or older. So this is just saying, hey, stop racism, stop sexism, just let the people vote, for God's sake. Like, just let them vote. The Voting Rights Act of 1965 banned literacy tests and other obstacles to vote. Areas with substantial populations of non-English speaker must provide ballots in that language. Federal government must approve any changes to election and voter laws in states with a history of voter discrimination. So this would be your southern states like Alabama, probably Florida, things like that. So we're going to get into our first case. No, this is not our first case. I'm sorry. It's a different case that's related. Shelby County versus Holder. It was in 2013. How do you identify a state problematic? Some of the Voting Rights Act of 65 is unconstitutional, out of date, and that those states aren't problematic or racist now. The strength of the Voting Rights Act of 65 was weakened and further chipping away at it. So it wasn't as it wasn't as strong. It still exists. So I think it still exists. And my notes are very vague for this. So yeah, I don't know. Moving on, political efficacy, a person's belief that they understand and can impact politics. So a lot of people don't vote because they believe, oh, I'm not going to do anything. So that'd be a lack of political efficacy. Rational choice Rational choice voting. A voter examines an issue or candidate and consciously decided to vote in the way that seems to most benefit the voter. So, my dad and I, also if you're watching this, hi Dad, him and I were talking, and he's like, I'm always gonna vote for what benefits my family the most. And, that would be rational choice voting. Retrospective voting is looking back, vote based on how the incumbent party has done. So, it's looking back, and it was, if this person has run for president before, you can look back and be like, okay, they did this, this, and this, but they also did this. So, do I want to vote them in or no? Prospective voting is forward-looking. Vote based off of who you believe will handle the most important issues better. So, this is more for newer candidates that haven't run before or that have never been president before. So, Kamala Harris. She was never, or Kamala, however you say her name. I am not getting worked up about that. She never run for president before. She was vice president, yes, but she was never president. So you could look back or you had to look forward and say, okay, will she do this about this? Or, for example, Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. They both weren't president. So you had to look forward and say, okay, is Hillary gonna be the better vote, or is Trump gonna be the better vote? Party line voting is supporting a party by voting for candidates from one political party for all public offices across the ballot. So, if you're extremely Republican, you're gonna vote for all Republican. That's just how party line voting works. Same with Democrats. Moving on to topic 2.5, Jesus. 5.2. There is a higher turnout in presidential elections than in midterm because there's increased media attention, increased fundraising, and money spent on advertising. Election feels more important, and it's only once every 4 years, so it's not that much of a commitment. Ow. So it's just like, the presidential elections are more known about, and you're like, oh yeah, there's so much power in the president. Whereas senators and governors, you're just like, okay, who gives a crap? Like, who cares? Low participation in voting is caused by registration requirements, like ID and all that, like just a bunch of random stuff. Weekday elections, like why is it on Tuesday? Who decided that? Like, you're gonna close down schools for voting, but you're not gonna close down other lines of work so you can vote. Even then, that's just a hassle, and I don't know, it's just a whole thing. No penalty for not voting, so they're like, oh, yay, I can not vote and nothing's gonna happen, really. There's many elections. I don't know what this means. I think it's just because there's so many elections. Like, even for people who are rerunning for president, you need a whole another election for that, I assume. Low political efficacy, like I stated before, weakening political parties. So I think this means that the political parties are just becoming so extreme where it's just not worth it anymore, which I understand. Suggestions to improve turnout: automatic registration, making voting compulsory, which I do not believe we should do. Holiday or weekend elections, early voting, which there is now. I don't know how good it is or like what goes on for that, but that's pretty cool. Absentee mail-in ballots. I don't know if that would work. Motor voter law. That's a fun one to say. Allows people to register when getting a driver's license. Increased registered. Did not significantly increase turnout. I forgot what state this was in. Whatever. Automatically registered, and if they don't opt out, they receive a ballot in the mail 3 weeks prior to the election. Voting turnout went from 43% to 63% from 2014 to 2018. So it wasn't that significant, but it was still there. State voter photo ID laws. Jesus, that is a mouthful. Some laws governing elections are made by states. Some states require voters to show a valid photo ID. Supporters of voter ID or voter photo ID laws claim that they will decrease voter fraud. Opponents of voter photo ID laws claim that voter fraud is extremely rare and that the real goal of such laws is to suppress certain people from voting. People most likely to vote are college-educated, higher income, religious, white, and middle-aged. So 44 or older. Topic 5.3. Linkage institutions. Channels that allow individuals to communicate their preferences to policymakers. So I don't know what an example of this would be, but basically it just is what it sounds like it is. So I don't think you will really need anything to do with it. Political party is an organization that seeks power by electing members to office. I feel like this is all basic stuff, but it's good to know anyway. Party functions, mobilization, ensures that supporters actually make it to the polls, educating voters, establish a party platform, recruit and nominate candidates, support campaigns, etc. Party leadership systems and legislature. Committee system. Committee chairs are from the majority party, and committee membership is divided based on party. Party leadership. Jesus, I'm so sorry. My gums are messing me up so bad. And I'm also trying to just get this done before, this video is too long. Party leadership is roles based on party. So, majority, minority, whatever. Party caucuses. I don't remember what a caucus is. Closed meetings of party members to set legislative agendas, select committee members and chairs, and choose leadership. 5.4. Reasons for changes in party. Critical election. Party realignment. Polarized voters. Party de-alignment. Campaign finance law. Increase in private campaign contributes to candidates, and PACs has allowed candidates to be more independent of the party. What? Hold on. Increase in private campaign contributions to candidates, and PACs has allowed candidates to be more independent of their party. Candidates and politicians are now less reliant on the party for money. Reagan is the classic Republican. George W. Bush started compassionate conservatism. Tax cuts, expanded federal education, Medicare. Trump focuses on immigration, America first, populism, nationalism, confrontation, and personality-driven politics. 5.5. Third-party barriers. Two-party system, plurality system, winner-takes-all voting districts, single-member districts, no majority system, no proportional representation, and multi-member districts. Plurality system, candidate with the most votes wins. Majority system, candidate wins by receiving more than 50% of the votes. Single-member districts, one representative elected in each district. Ballot requirements, fees, petition signatures required to appear on ballots. Electoral college, must win a plurality of votes in a state to receive any electoral votes. 5.6. Interest group, an organization that attempts to influence policy, some for a specific purpose or a more general purpose. They have increasing numbers and influence. Public interest groups work for collective interests of a broad group of individuals and advocate for civil liberties, civil rights, and education. Public interest. I just said that. Single issue groups. Interest groups that focus advocacy on a single issue. Institutional groups. Intergovernmental groups. So this is all under institutional groups. Intergovernmental represent state and local governments. Professional associations or labor unions. American Medical Association, American Bar Association, etc. Corporations, U.S. Chamber of Commerce, National Association of Manufacturers, etc. And then, moving on, ideological social protest movement groups, civil rights, women's, environment, consumer, etc. Functions and activities of interest groups. Educate voters, draft legislation, mobilize membership. Oh my gosh. Political Action Committee or PACs, endorse candidates, get out the vote, mobilize voters, lobbying in Congress, testify at committee hearings, draft legislation. What the freak? Why is that twice? Pressure legislators or threaten fundraising support, lobbying the courts, amicus curiae, friend of the court, litigation, grassroots lobbying, which is go to citizens and try to persuade them about stuff. A bureaucrat is someone who works for the government that is in a position of power. The Iron Triangle is a symbiotic relationship that influences how policies are made and implemented. So, like, bureaucracy influences Congress and interest groups, and then interest groups affect Congress and bureaucracy and stuff like that. There's nothing more you really need to know about that. Because we'll go over that later. Topic 5.8, primaries. National convention to general election. I don't know what... Because it's little arrows from primaries to national convention to general election. So I think it's just supposed to show this is how they go. I wrote these so long ago, so I really don't know. But don't take my word for it. But I'm pretty sure. Presidential primaries held in all 50 states. The winner of each state receives delegates who commit to vote for her. To vote for them at the national convention. Delegates, people who officially vote for the candidate at the national convention. Primaries. Closed primary. So these are the type of primaries. Closed primary is only registered party members. Open primary is residents can vote in either party's primary. A caucus, so we're getting back to caucuses, is a meeting of party members to choose a candidate. So Iowa, out of all states, is an example of this. I heard this is total malarkey, but I don't think you need to know much more about it. Super Tuesday, often the most important day of primary season, the day with the most primaries. Criticism of primary system, too much importance placed on states, on early states, caucus. Candidates appeal to more ideological and partisan voters in primaries. Yeah, that's about it. Electoral college. People who represent each state and officially elect the president. Moving on. 5.11. That's not necessary. Hard money contributes directly to candidates limited and regulated by the Federal Election Commission. Oh boy. Soft money contributes to political party not limited or regulated. Sources of campaign funding, individuals, candidates, political parties, and PACs. A PAC is a private group of organized to raise money for candidates. Super PAC may raise unlimited money from corporations, unions, and individuals. Prohibited from donating directly to political candidates or parties, though. You don't need to know this. This is all just random cases that just slightly have something to do with this. I think you need to know Citizens United versus the FEC, which struck down parts of the BICRA, which is Bipartisan Campaign Reform Act of 2002, which sought to limit the influence of money in elections. They claim that money equals free speech and that it places limits on political spending. So their super PACs were made. What do you know? 5.12. Traditional news, or types of media, sorry. Traditional news, which you know, cable TV, internet, social media, etc. The news is constantly changing. So it's targeting specific groups of people, only share what is newsworthy, agenda setting, focuses on who is winning or losing, horse race journalism, which is focusing on polls rather than like actual fact. And those are also the downfall of it. So yeah, that is all for now. I know this is 35 minutes long or longer by now, but I will most likely go over 3 chapters tomorrow, or not tomorrow, whenever I can record next for this subject. So yeah, you might want to stay strapped for this one, because it might be a long ride. Well, that's all for now. Bye.